You're watching TAG TV.
Hello viewers, I'm your host Chandrakala Chaudhary with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin today's show with India that has been extensively working at remodeling and restructuring its foreign policy to further improve ties with countries across the globe. Indian leadership has not only been reaching out to other states through bilateral and multilateral engagements, but has also been hosting leaderships to create a diplomatic synergy with them. In the line of this policy, New Delhi on two separate occasions hosted the Maldivian President Ibrahim Mohamed Solih and South Korean Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-wha. A report.
New Delhi and Male are extensively and expeditiously working at revamping the bilateral ties between the two countries, which had touched an all-time low during former President and strongman Abdullah Yamin's tenure. After Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first visit to Male last month to attend President Ibrahim Mohamed Solih's swearing-in, Solih paid a three-day visit to India to keep the momentum of the revived engagement thriving. The visit turned out to be increasingly fructiferous as both countries not only reviewed the entire gamut of the bilateral ties, but affirmed their support and commitment to each other's interests and aspirations. Both countries signed a slew of agreements to cooperate on trade, health and defense, areas such as fisheries development, tourism, transportation, connectivity, education, information technology, new and renewable energy and communications were earmarked for enhancing bilateral cooperation. India would help improve Maldives' security through joint patrols as well as aerial surveillance.
An important aspect of our discussions was our mutual aspiration and needs for regional stability, and also agreed to strengthen maritime security in the Indian Ocean region through coordinated patrolling and aerial surveillance, exchange of information, including cooperation in the areas of training and capacity building.
The island nation presently faces a daunting challenge of fending off mounting debts that by reportedly reached somewhere between 1.5 to 3 billion US. New Delhi announced a 1.4 billion US aid to the island nation. The Maldives has been grappling with debt from Chinese building spree, largely been termed as Chinese modus operandi, to gain control over the territories in the line of its expansionist agenda.
मुझे खुशी है कि इस प्रतिबद्धता की प्रत्यक्ष अभिव्यक्ति के तौर पर मालदीव के सामाजिक आर्थिक विकास के लिए बजट सपोर्ट, करेंसी स्वैप और रियायती लाइंस ऑफ क्रेडिट के रूप में 1.4 बिलियन अमेरिकी डॉलर की आर्थिक सहायता भारत मालदीव को प्रदान करेगा.
Maldives occupies a very important geostrategic position in the Indo-Pacific, given the volume of trade that transits through the sea lanes it sits astride. Solih, immediately after assuming the office last month, has apprised the people of his country that the state coffers with plundering by previous regime and his country was in financial trouble after racking up massive debts. India has not just provided a monetary assistance to the country, but has also committed to stand by Male in all aspects related to the interest of the island nation. In yet another diplomatic engagement, India hosted South Korean Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-wha. Both countries chaired the 9th meeting of the India-Republic of Korea Joint Commission in Delhi. Kang, while giving joint statement with Swaraj, said South Korea and India would continue to put in efforts to achieve the bilateral trade of $50 billion by 2030, a target set during South Korea President Moon Jae-in's visit to India in July.
Minister Swaraj and I expect that bilateral trade and investment will continue to grow given our two countries' potential and complementary economic strengths toward achieving our goal of $50 billion by the year 2030. In this light, we committed to continued efforts for an early conclusion of the negotiations to upgrade the ROK India Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA.
South Korean and Indian foreign ministers agreed to work together for denuclearization of North Korea and bring permanent peace in the Korean peninsula. Suraj said the two countries would work together against militancy and committed to a rule-based order.
Friends, we also share the view that terrorism in all its forms and manifestations is a global scourge and resolved to combat it through coordinated regional and global efforts.
Both countries have been working at multiple fronts to further bolster the ties. They have also been unrelenting at expanding their horizons of engagements. Bilateral trade between the world's 7th and 11th largest economies rose by nearly a quarter to $20.8 billion in the 2017-18 fiscal year that ended in March, with $16.4 billion of that in favor of South Korea.
Moving on, experts and academics recently deliberated upon the legal implications of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor during a two-day conference in Germany. They highlighted that illegally occupied region of Gilgit-Baltistan, from where the CPEC passes, is an integral part of India's Jammu and Kashmir, and neither Pakistan nor China have any legal right or claim over it.
Junaid Qureshi, the director of the European Foundation for South Asian Studies, or EFSAS, recently examined the legal implications of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, with regard to Kashmir and in turn the Gilgit-Baltistan region through which the corridor passes. While speaking during a two-day conference of South Asia experts and academics in Germany, Qureshi said that in total disregard for international norms and practices, Beijing has signed the CPEC with Pakistan, further complicating impending the resolution of Kashmir issue. Qureshi highlighted the fact that Gilgit-Baltistan, illegally occupied by Pakistan, is an integral part of India's Jammu and Kashmir, and neither Pakistan nor China have any legal right or claim over it.
Gilgit-Baltistan has never been formally and legally integrated into the Pakistani state and does not participate in Pakistan's constitutional affairs, as subsequent Pakistani administrations have argued that the Pakistani state cannot officially integrate Gilgit-Baltistan into Pakistan in line with its claimed, yet not practiced, position that a referendum should be carried out across the whole of the region, and that any such step would prejudice its international obligations with regard to the Jammu and Kashmir conflict.
Indigenous people in Gilgit-Baltistan have for years been asking Pakistan to delink Gilgit-Baltistan from Kashmir and grant its rights similar to those enjoyed by Pakistani citizens. However, their demands have fallen on deaf ears of successive regimes of Pakistan, and Pakistan has treated the chronic matter through ad hoc governance ordinance.
The said state subject rule was abrogated in Gilgit-Baltistan in 1974 by the government of Pakistan, which resulted in demographic changes in the territory, and in 2009 the Gilgit-Baltistan Empowerment and Self-Governance Order was passed by the Pakistani cabinet. The order granted self-rule to the people of Gilgit-Baltistan by creating, among other things, an elected Gilgit-Baltistan Legislative Assembly and Gilgit-Baltistan Council. Yet the indigenous people did not gain control over their national resources and minerals, as all decision-making powers in relation to forest, power, tourism and minerals are under the direct control of this newly created Gilgit-Baltistan Council, which is headed by the Prime Minister of Pakistan.
Activists have long raised concerns that the multi-billion-dollar CPEC project has only brought death and destruction for the local people instead of economic opportunities. They also blame that both China and Pakistan are committing war crimes and genocide in Gilgit-Baltistan and Balochistan regions.
Moving on to Bangladesh, where the election dates are looming fast with general elections scheduled to be held on 30th of December. On one side, the incumbent Prime Minister is confident of her victory, while on the other, the mounting resistance and protest against her government is suggesting a different fate for her. The picture has not become clear, with most of the agencies indicating Hasina triumph yet again. We have Mr. Kamar Agha, a political and foreign affairs expert who has closely been following the developments in the country. Well, Mr. Agha, the election campaign has reached its last phase in Bangladesh. What, according to you, are the real issues in the country, and do you think parties have been able to put them in their manifestos?
There are three main issues. One is development, economic development especially, or the overall development of the country. People are they want more jobs, they want manufacturing to be enlarged in the country so that generate more opportunity for the jobs creation, because in Bangladesh large number of people are unemployed. Second is they want peace and stability, because Pakistan-backed Islamic militant movements are very active in Bangladesh. Number of people, especially the secular ones, who have wanted Bangladesh to remain a secular democratic state. It's basically the conflict between the two groups. The big large number of people want secular democratic Bangladesh, but there are people who wants to take Bangladesh in the lines of Pakistan. They take cue from there.
How do you rate the premiership of Sheikh Hasina, and what prospects do you see for her in the upcoming posts?
She has a good position. She has been able to generate a lot of hope among the youth by creating jobs. Economy is booming. It's almost 7.8% GDP. It's a big thing. They are doing a number of sectors, including garment is one of the major exporter. Bangladesh has emerged as a major exporter of the garment. All the big American, European companies are getting their products, ready-made products made in Bangladesh. So they have a reputation. Number of other industries have come up in the last 10 years. So, and plus she has been able to establish peace in the region, in Bangladesh.
Well, Sheikh Hasina is accused of exercising authoritarianism and suppressing peaceful voices of dissent through extreme high-handedness, not just by internal rivals, but also by international organizations. What's your take on this?
See, Bangladesh situation is very tricky. It's not a normal condition where it's not easy to deal with the militant groups. She is very firm when it comes to the dealing with the militant or the people who are spreading hatred in Bangladesh. So she is very firm in that way. So one can say, that authoritarian. I wouldn't call it authoritarian. I would say she is firm. She is determined to eradicate militancy from within the Bangladesh territory, which is backed by foreign countries, particularly Pakistan. She wants to establish a secular democratic setup. She wanted that this setup which was established by her father, late Bangabandhu. She wanted to strengthen that fabric, and she wanted to have better ties with neighbor, particularly with India.
Thank you, Mr. Agha. Moving on, while the country gears up for polls, a looming Rohingya repatriation crisis continues to remain a challenge to the authorities. The due process of sending refugees back to their country is poised to become even complex and harder, as the Rohingya are unwilling to leave the Bangladeshi territory unless they are provided a conducive and secured environment in the homeland. A report.
The authorities of Bangladesh are in a state of quandary as their repeated attempts of repatriating Rohingya back to their homeland have failed at yielding any substantial results. The growing reluctance and resistance is poised to make the situation even worse for the authorities. Recently, Myanmar and Bangladesh government had agreed to repatriate around 7 lakh refugees, but the plan couldn't materialize as the Rohingya refused to go back, citing poor living conditions in Myanmar for them.
Ya sadde ara da variundi an andar dekir ara tunda se hukumote ara re da se sui sathe ara hok kan jodi phayare ara de chigalla ara re kada hok ara barbar sarmato yendila de dai iddi hendila jodi yo da jodi ya bole ara re da yo ara to jaibar asha hukumote jodi ara sui ara hok kan de do to ara da bele ekhono to yar ara ekhono thaiba maksunno.
The continuous inflow of Rohingya in Bangladesh has led to the total number of Rohingya reach more than 7 lakh by the end of the year. Living in flimsy shelters, Rohingyas are reeling under inhuman conditions in Cox's Bazar, but they say that the situation was still better than what it was back in their homes. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees has expressed its deep appreciation and solidarity with Bangladesh for its extraordinary efforts for a prolonged period of time. It says Bangladesh has shown real generosity in continuing to host and support nearly 1 million Rohingya refugees. The UNHCR is of the firm belief that Rohingyas should only return to Myanmar if they are able to live a life of dignity and safety over there.
For return, UNHCR has always advocated for durable solutions. Of course, any return for refugees has to be in dignity, in safety, and on a voluntary basis. So they have to be well informed and take a decision if they feel it's safe to go back. We don't consider that the circumstances right now are conducive for return. However, if return happens, it has to be in those safety, dignity, and on a voluntary basis.
The Rohingya refugees have made it very clear that they would only return to Myanmar if they will be provided with citizenship rights over there. Many who feel nostalgic in these camps and eagerly want to return to their homes retract their thoughts, thinking dangerous and volatile as before military crackdown in August 2017. Rohingyas' anti-government stance got emboldened after a satellite survey revealed that the new settlements, which were prepared after international community's repeated criticism and demand of resolving the crisis, are being occupied by the Buddhists living in and around the Rakhine state. This step has given a major blow to the expectations of Rohingyas to return back home, who now constitute one of the largest refugee clans of the world.
Moving on to Sri Lanka, where a nearly 2 months long political deadlock is resolved as Ranil Wickremesinghe has been reinstated to the chair of Prime Minister. The decision came after a Supreme Court verdict termed President Maithripala's decision of dissolving the parliament immoral and unconstitutional. The weeks-long impasse had not only severely impacted the social and economic equilibriums in the country, but had also earned it a bad international press. Now it remains to be seen how Sirisena and Wickremesinghe, who stand at two opposite extremes of the spectrum, are going to work together for the future of the country. In a remarkable comeback, weeks after he was ousted under controversial circumstances, Ranil Wickremesinghe was reinstated to the chair of Prime Minister. Now being hailed across the forum as a victory of democratic essence and structure of the country that had plunged during the past struggle between Wickremesinghe and Mahinda Rajapaksa. An adamant president, Maithripala Sirisena, who had essentially turned rogue merely on the differences cropped up between him and Prime Minister Wickremesinghe over state policies, had sacked later through an unconstitutional move. Earlier, Rajapaksa resigned following a mounting pressure and an evolving sentiment against him. Both legislature and judiciary, through their own mechanisms, had declared him unfit to rule the country. Before getting appointed for the 5th time, Wickremesinghe, who has never completed a full term in the House, told his supporters that he would ensure a better economic situation, better standard of living for Sri Lankans after working to normalize the country.
අපි කැපවෙන්නේ පළමුවෙන්ම රටේ සාමාන්‍ය තත්ත්වයක් ඇති කළා ඒ සාමාන්‍ය තත්ත්වය ඇති කළා රටේ සංවර්ධනය යලිත් ලබා දෙන්න.
The developments in the island nation drew a flurry of congratulatory messages from across the globe, with the United States leading the wagon, saying it was willing to continue its engagement with Prime Minister and hoped that the democratic principles will be respected in the country. The states also asserted that it wanted to further bolster bilateral ties with the island nation, keeping with constitutional and democratic norms. The immediate neighbour and Sri Lanka's permanent friend India, which had refrained interfering in political crisis, welcomed the developments and reiterated its commitment towards the development of the nation. The situation might have improved in the island nation, but these developments have led to a complex political situation where Sirisena and Wickremesinghe, who were at loggerheads until recently, will have to work together. Many experts have repeatedly expressed their pessimism and have speculated a further deterioration in the country until it gets a fresh leadership. Now it remains to be seen how the duo resolves its internal enmity and commits to the welfare of the nation. Moving on, with the primary objective of projecting Manipur, the northeastern state of India, as a popular tourist destination and to spread the message of saving water, a first state-level Barak festival was organized in Senapati district. A report.
The northeastern province of Manipur has diverse tourism potential as it is immensely blessed with natural resources. With a view towards enhancing the growth of the tourism sector of Manipur, the first ever state-level Barak festival was organized under the theme Sustaining Peace and Harmony at Mini Stadium Ground in Senapati district, Manipur. The festival aimed at showcasing Manipur as a popular tourist destination and to highlight the rich ecosystem of the region. The Overview River, or Barak River, is one of the longest rivers of Asia at 2,410 km, flowing through the states of Nagaland, Manipur and Assam in India and flowing into the Bay of Bengal via Bangladesh.
Regarding about this, we have got a traditional marung where we settle, where we gather in the evening. Elders, they have their own tradition of eating or drinking wine. We have got five tribes are there. There are 5 tribes, so 5 marungs are there. And after this, we'll have a traditional car rally.
The dignitaries also visited the Morungs, traditional huts of the 5 communities of Senapati district, such as Mau, Maram, Pumai, Thangal and Ziliangrong, constructed at the festival venue. Chicken dance by the Chekesang group amused the audience and left the people awestruck. The song says, "We chickens know not when we will die." According to reports, the central government would take up steps in consultation with the district collector and officials of the State Tourism Department to encourage garbage management and plantation of saplings at the origin of Barak, where the river passes through. Barak River has been playing a pivotal role in maintaining the ecosystem of the state, and hence there is every need to raise concern and strive for a plastic-free and environment-friendly district.
Sina han basu oiribni state level oina akoina tawdarbise jagoi akhogi jagoi phasaba Zaliangrong jagoi se sarage haina ngasi gi nimitsida khoi mayam sinba langbada khoi jasida pareng CM bu ogna ba khoi jagoi ga ready tawraga leirabni.
It may also be mentioned that the idea of Barak Festival was conceived some years back by the Naga People's Organization NPO for the collective tribes of Tahamzam, Senapati district, and was first celebrated in 2013. Since then, it has been continuously celebrated in December annually as a district event under the aegis of the NPO, the apex civil society organization of the district. The Barak festival is now celebrated as a state-level festival as declared by the Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh during Barak Spring Fest 2017.
India, the land of festivity, observes and celebrates numerous such festivals that essentially describe cultural diversity of the country. With that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Take care and goodbye.